Okay, I saved you guys from all the boring stuff. I reamed out the other two pieces, marked out where everything goes. I like to go for 6 inches from the fighting butt to the bottom of the handle. Leaves a nice bit there. I sanded everything. So the next process is we'll glue this on, and then as you can tell, the real seat flops on there, and I really don't like that plastic piece they give you to try to build it up. So I'll show you how we do that. But let's get that other handle on there first. I think this epoxy's still good enough to do that. Just don't want to go past your line. Yeah, that worked out good. And we'll do the same thing. We'll spin it as we bring it on, because we want that epoxy in there good. We don't want it over the edge, so we'll keep taking the extra off as we go. Starting to build up again. Take that extra off. Spin it. Okay. Then we'll clean that end up. Get some more alcohol. And we'll clean this all up. Get all that extra glue off of there. Why we got it nice. We'll slide the decorative cap back up here. I like to do it while the epoxy is still wet, because it'll stick on there and not slide if you slide it with your hand at all. Clean all this up while we got the alcohol rag out. Looking good. Now, as you can tell, this has got to go on here. So, what I will do here is, I didn't sand far enough, it looks like. Looks like this has got to go to about here. So better sand that quick before we get going. I like that epoxy to stick to this blank. If it's not sanded, you have the chance of it not sticking, and we don't want that to happen. Building a rod for somebody, especially, you know, they'll be fighting a fish and their hand will come off. That would be horrible. So we'll scuff this all up so the epoxy sticks nice to everything. There we go. We still got alcohol on here. We'll clean all this up. You can't even tell once it's cleaned up that it's really been scuffed up. There we have it. That's all ready for our next step. And that's how fast that stuff dries. So we've got a mark there where our the top of our handle is going to go. Let's put a mark here so we know where our real seat's going to be. And now I'm going to build this up with tape. And as you look in this handle, you can see it's about almost a half inch in, and then it starts to get into that thing. So we'll start our tape 3/4 to an inch in, and we're going to spin this tape on there. And it's okay to use tape because we're going to fill all this in with epoxy, the epoxy paste anyway. So we're just going to build this up, and then we'll go from there. And unlike reaming it out, if you do go put too much on, you can always take it off, but you don't like to waste product, so I always do a little less than what needs to be on, than I think needs to be on there, so I can check. Oh, it's still got a ways to go. So we'll start back over here. We'll keep doing this until we get this thing exactly snug. And just like with the other part of the handle, you don't want it too snug because you don't want to pull all the epoxy out of there. You do want it to be snug, but not too snug, because you do want epoxy in between this. I'm going to fill up in between everything with epoxy also, so there's really no worries on this. But the most important thing is once we get this real seat glued into position, we want to hurry up and get the other end on, and then we want to, it's too tight now, I put too much on. We want to find the spine of the rod before the stuff dries, because, oh, that's perfect. Because we want this to, we got to line this up with the spine. So that worked out nice. That's ready to go. Instead of wasting this tape, we're going to put it right on, start over with it, and keep on wrapping. I like to do 3 wraps in between here, because we don't want to just have it in the end and in the front and the back of it, because it's just too much of a stress point. But if you got 3 of them, the handle's even. You know, a lot of people are going to be like, why are you using tape? That's crazy. But I can show you so many rod builders that do this, and it's not uncommon, and it's actually, it works better than that plastic rod. I mean, that plastic rod is so hard to work with, and you just can't get it to ever sit right. Still too loose, so we'll keep going. A hair more, I think. I'm going to do 2 more wraps and see. 1, 2, and then we'll try this. That's already really good. Sits nice. Perfect. Now, find our mark for the end. We'll come in, we'll come back into about the same distance, 3/4 of an inch. We got about the same distance in between. It'll be real easy to fill that with epoxy. And there's going to be epoxy on top of the tape and in between the tape, so it's not going to affect anything. I use this thinner roll tape because I don't, it's just to hold it into place, and the epoxy hardens and keeps it. So I mean, the tape, I mean, over time will, like, if you didn't have epoxy there, you would like squish one side more than the other and stuff like that. But with the epoxy there, it hardens like a rock, and it'll never be. Yeah, that's not quite ready yet. Get that wrinkle out of there. A few more wraps here. Just a little too snug for me. I can force it on there, but you don't want to ever have to force it. Like I said, you want that epoxy to sit in there. Yeah, that's really nice. So we're going to mix up another batch of epoxy. I already put the decorative end on that end and it's all ready. So let's mix up another batch of epoxy. We'll get this thing sealed, and we'll let that dry before we do any I think we're going to get a little bit more of this. Let me get another popsicle stick because I don't want to mix those two, because then you end up with a hard clump in there. I think I can live with that. And we'll knock this out. You can see one's like a copperish color and the other one's like a whitish color, so you can tell when you got it mixed good. You want that to be all one consistent color, so you just keep mixing until it's all like it's sort of like a creamy white color, and we'll fill all this in with epoxy. Try to lay it flat against the tape so it can fill in that gap. As you can tell, it's filling the gap in real nice. And what leftover we'll have, we'll be able to put that other end cap on it. We'll go over this tape now. If no air bubbles, everything is sealed nice. we'll put some on the end here. Okay, let's seat this thing. We get another stick to clean up. I do like to, I like skinnier sticks when it's time to clean up, so I use my scissors, and it's kind of unorthodox, but I do cut the popsicle sticks when they will cut. Sometimes they don't cut, but you don't need much. Alright, let's get this on there. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to spin it as we put it on. Back it up, go forward. And that is that. Now what I do like to do here is, probably work. There's threads on the end of this reel seat. Just for cleanup purposes, it's easier for me. I will normally put a little piece of tape around these threads. It's easier to keep it clean. And then we'll use the rest of this epoxy that we have mixed up. We've got our line over here so we know how far not to go. And we'll put it on thicker on this end, because it does push up. Same process, we spin this thing on there. Back and forth a little bit. We do want to work that in there good. Like I said, it would be awful embarrassing if you built a custom rod for somebody and their handle falls off. Now we squeeze everything together. Get our alcohol rag still pretty soaked with alcohol. And we'll clean up that extra. Get some more alcohol on here. And then the last thing we'll do is, before this dries, you want that reel seat. I mean, the rod's got a spine. All rods have a spine, just like a human. I mean, it bends the best one way. So, no dog head. So, it's gonna wanna fall a certain way, and it's the strongest if you're on spine with it. Now if you just throw the guides and the handle on any which way, the rod's going to snap a lot easier. With it being on spine, it's not, I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible for it to snap, but it is the strongest part of the rod. It's going to want to fall. I'll show you how to find spine, and it will bend that same way every time. So if you build the rod around that spine of the rod, you will have a perfect rod, the strongest possible rod you could have. So we got the handle done. We just don't know if this reel seat is in the right spot. So I'm going to move the camera so you can see how I do this. And well, I'll probably just move this table. And see if you can see this here. So I put the rod on the floor, and I put one, let me see, let's raise this up here. So I put the rod on the floor. I put one hand here, and with this hand, I bend it up. And then I roll the rod. And that rod's going to want to stop in the same spot every time. So then I'll turn the handle accordingly. Now with a casting rod, the guides go on the top of the bend. On a spinning rod, they go on the bottom. So we'll bend this thing and we'll roll it. Let's see. Not cooperating. It's not looking good here. Let's see. So that's perfectly on spine right there. So I'm gonna make sure all these are tight, and then we'll let this dry, and we'll go from there. Yep, I'm happy with that. So now we know this reel seat is dead center. So when that bends, that rod is at its strongest point. So we got one drying. We got finishing up drying in the tent, the dust-proof tent. We got a handle built, and we're gonna wrap this video up and do name it part 1, and then we'll get to doing guides and showing how the process of how we line the guides up, and how we wrap them, and we'll go from there. Don't forget, we still got that rod raffle going on. We do have enough people to purchase one rod, and like I said, I'm not making nothing on it, just buying the supplies. So if we get another 25 more people, I'm gonna build 2 rods. So we get, 75, 50 people, I'll build 2 rods. 75 people, I'll build 3 rods. We're gonna raffle them off on January 1st. 9 p.m. on our live show. That's when we're going to do the drawing. We're almost ready for our 700 subscriber giveaway. We've got the giveaway coming up on our 100th order on our Teespring store. It's in the everything's in the description, guys. Have any questions, you can hit me up on Instagram, Twitter. Join our Facebook group, Fishing Louisiana. Great bunch of guys there. We have a Facebook page, Facebook group. Just follow us, and you can join the Facebook Fishing Louisiana group no matter where you are. You can be in anywhere, and it's just about talking about fishing. A great bunch of guys in there. So I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. It does help me out a great bit. And we'll catch you on the next one.